everybody, I am Joe Baris, aka Duke Mish. This is Jeremy Evans, aka SSJ Rem. We are the founders and writers of cupofjoe.com. It's actually cupof-joe.com because I'm not that clever, I guess, when I made the website name. This is our first show that we're doing here, first movie show. We'll try to make more depending on how this goes. This may be terrible, but it may be great. It'll probably be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great, yes. All right, so let's start off. It's been really weak this last month. We haven't gotten a lot of reviews out because there just hasn't been a lot of good movies coming out, and we just haven't gone. We don't have a lot of money to just go to awful movies, so, you know.
Not that we haven't.
Not that we haven't in the yeah, exactly. But yes, we just haven't gone. So let's start with what we've reviewed lately, and that starts with Kick-Ass 2, and I'll turn it over to Jeremy for that one.
Okay, Duke Mish here, aka Joe, did not see Kick-Ass 2 because wasn't a particularly big fan of the first one, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the thing about Kick-Ass 2, it really got kind of just beaten down in the reviews by the critics and everything, which to a degree I understand, but at the same time I found it a little strange that people who enjoyed the first one wouldn't like the second one. The second Kick-Ass contains a lot of the same themes. It has very much the same the feel of the first one. All the cast members are back. It has that same dark humor, that same over-the-top violence and everything that made the first one so special. And throughout the whole movie, it just carries a theme of escalation. It just takes everything that was in the first one and ups it. There's more ridiculous violence, more cursing. It's a darker film, but it's still funny, and it's a very dark humor, and I can understand why some people wouldn't enjoy that kind of thing. But for anyone who enjoyed the first one, I recommend it. Hit Girl was she stole the show once again. Was probably the best character in the movie. Not to say that Aaron Taylor Johnson was not good in the titular role as Kick-Ass. And I think that about does it for my thoughts. So we'll turn it over to Joe.
All right, and if you want to check out that review, it's cupofjoe.com. You could check that out along with a bunch of other things. The last movie I've seen, and it came out on DVD recently, I don't know, maybe that was a few weeks ago, I'm not exactly sure, but The Place Beyond the Pines, and I have to say that I wanted to see this movie in theaters, didn't get a chance, but then I got a chance once it came out on DVD, and let me tell you, it was phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. Everything was great about it. Ryan Gosling was great. Pretty much the same characters he played in Drive, but it worked. Eva Mendes did her part. Bradley Cooper, great job. Continues his sudden, prominent actor. Like I never would have seen that coming. After
he was
The Hangover,
just there for a couple years.
Exactly.
You see him pop up in things like Wedding Crashers.
Right.
And oh, that's Bradley Cooper.
Exactly, and it's just like, and now he's become this huge, one of the premier actors now in these big time movies, Silver Linings Playbook, and now The Place Beyond the Pines, and he's really coming through. You've got other actors, Ray Liotta, your boy, I don't know his name, guy in Chronicle.
Oh, Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan. He is great in it. This movie has layers. That's what makes it great. It goes from story to story, and it's very interesting. The only knock I have on it is it's a little, I don't want to say depressing, but it's not an uplifting movie. If you have to be in the mood to watch it. But other than that, I mean, I gave it 5 cups. I thought it was a very good movie. I think it will be nominated for Oscars. I don't know what's going to come out the rest of this year, but I really do think it's going to be nominated for something. So that's something to look for on DVD. I would definitely recommend it. So the movie I saw with that was Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, and it was awful. I'm not going to waste time on it, but it was awful. If you like the first one, you'll probably like the second one like I did, but it was terrible. It was just so bad, and I hope they don't make a third one, like they hinted at, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I guess that about does it for the movies that we've seen. The latest. Now let's.
Well, first of all, I think we have to touch on Sharknado.
Oh my God,
which was
you're right.
Clearly the best movie that we've seen in the past month.
Yes. Oh my God. It came out on Sci-Fi. People were telling me about it. I'm just like, Sharknado. What does that mean? And they're just like, they're sharks in a tornado. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I have to see this movie. So finally, it was on Sci-Fi. And I taped it. We watched it on your birthday. What a birthday present!
It was wonderful.
That was. It was a fantastic movie. It embodied just everything about the parody of a sci-fi film. It embodied it, and it just did everything to the extreme, and it was fantastic. I would say watch it. Don't take it seriously. It's not a serious film. That's the only thing I think people will be confused about going into it, but I mean, I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I would not buy it, but
yeah.
if it happens to be on Sci-Fi, absolutely sit down and give it a watch, because
Definitely.
you will not regret it.
Definitely. I totally agree. All right, thanks. I almost forgot about that. Sharknado.
Hey, it's what I'm here for.
There you go. All right, now let's take it back over to you. The box office this weekend. Take us through it.
Okay, well, last weekend saw the release of... I totally just forgot the name of the film. Insidious Chapter 2. For some reason I wanted to call it The Conjuring, and they were directed by the same guy, so... Alright, anyway, that came out, and, the first Insidious opened to, I think, 13 million. And it ended up having pretty good legs for a horror movie, finished with, I think about 54 million. And so, that's pretty good as far as horror movies go. And since then, the director, James Wan, went on to make The Conjuring. So he's kind of become a decently big name in horror. So there was actually a lot of buzz surrounding Insidious 2, which was only even higher because it was released on Friday the 13th, and that just tends to be really good for horror movies. So I predicted Insidious 2 to do better in its opening weekend than the first one, but I only said it was going to make 20, and it ended up making twice that. It opened to 40 million, which I did not see coming. But even in its opening weekend, you could see how front-loaded it was. It made, I think, 19, 20 million on Friday, and then was down to 7 million by Sunday. So it's going to crash and burn. Might only make 75 million altogether, but I mean, the budget was only about 5 million, and I'm sure we'll see an Insidious 3 probably, because they're cheap to produce, and they make money for the studio. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't have to see this one, do I?
No, we won't go see
good.
it. We didn't even see Insidious 2.
Good. All right. Excellent. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what was the other movie? Oh, right, The Family.
The Family, yeah.
The Family. Now, I kind of just disregarded this movie. I thought it would make 5-6 million or something, and then it ended up making 14, which is pretty solid. I mean, it's not spectacular, but for a movie that looks pretty terrible, that's not half bad. And from this point on, if we're going to discuss the rest of the top 10, forgive me, I think I'm going to have to cheat.
Oh, of course.
I can't remember them all.
I understand.
Offhand. Okay. So in third place we had Riddick, which made just under 7 million and was down an understandable 64%. Riddick has always been kind of a cult franchise, for Vin Diesel's fans and everything, but Vin Diesel is a huge nerd, in case you didn't know that. He really is. He's big into Dungeons and Dragons. I think he literally wrote his own campaign for it or something. He's a big nerd, but if anything, I think that just makes him cooler. In fourth place, we had Lee Daniels, The Butler, which dropped a slim 34% to about 5.5 million, and it finally crossed 100 million this weekend. The Butler has been one of the bright spots over the past few weeks at the box office. A pretty solid debut, and it's gone on to have very good legs. Could be looking at some Oscar nods.
Yeah, definitely.
In fifth place is another movie that has had some really good legs, We're the Millers, That made about $5.4 million, down 30%, and it's up to $130 million, which I really never would have seen coming before it came out.
No.
And at the risk of making this video too long, I think we can just cap it at the top 5 because the rest of it isn't that interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, you spoke on it right there. I mean, The Butler and We're the Millers really benefiting from this just god-awful, just movies that have been coming out, topped by One Direction and, it's just
Which
like,
fell off the face of the earth,
yeah,
by the way.
it's just, they've just been awful movies. I mean, I would see Riddick. I've never seen the previous 2 films, but I mean that looked cool. But other than that, there really hasn't been much out there. Haven't seen The Butler yet. Need to see that movie because I hear great things. Should create some Oscar buzz later in the year, I'm sure. But other than that, there's nothing. So I'm hoping, Rush comes out. Well, Rush technically comes out today.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it'll be released next week. So hopefully then and after that we'll get some good films. Although Gravity's coming, and I don't think that's going to be any good. But anyway, speaking of upcoming films, we have this weekend, and let's see, what do we have coming out? The Battle of the Year.
Battle of the Year, yeah. Coming long after the dance movie craze died down, if that was even really a thing. There were like 2 dance movies that did well. I think one of them had Channing Tatum, who these days can actually, White House Down kind of flopped, but he's been on a hot streak. But anyway, this one's headlined by Chris Brown, who I'm amazed still has a career after the whole Rihanna thing. But as I touched on in my September movie preview, which if you want to check out, apparently he has some messed up fans who have been saying things on Twitter like, "Oh, I would let Chris Brown beat me" or something, and just like, do they realize what that means? But anyway, I don't expect much of anything from Battle of the Year. It has like a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes, and we're probably looking at like a $5 million debut for that.
Right, yeah, and other movie we have coming out is Prisoners. Pretty stacked cast in this one. I was not impressed by the trailer. I didn't think it looked very good, very interesting. It looks like Hugh Jackman is overacting, and but looking at Rotten Tomatoes, maybe I'm wrong. It's got, last time I checked, 81%, around 80%, which is certified fresh for that film. With people like Hugh Jackman, I mean, I like Hugh Jackman. It just looked like he was overacting in the trailer. I like Terrence Howard. I don't mind Jake Gyllenhaal as much as other people do. He is pretty terrible, though. So
he needs the right project.
Yeah, right, yes. That's probably the best way to say it. I mean, I think it looks good. I don't know about its box office prospects, though. But I mean, it has potential to be good, but by the trailer, I don't see it.
Yeah. Every day, she's wondering why I'm not there. Not you! Me! Not you!
Yes, exactly, yes. So, it's
You don't
just...
see the passion there?
Overacting. So, I mean, we'll see. Is there anything else of note coming out this weekend?
Now, as far as I know, those are the only 2 wide releases coming out this week, and Rush does come out in a limited capacity, and will be expanding to nationwide release next weekend. Prisoners, as far as box office goes, I think it would be okay if it debuts somewhere in the mid, teens, like 14, 15 million. There aren't too many movies for older audiences this time, so, and The Butler is winding down, so they might turn out for Prisoners. So Prisoners, it might do all right, especially if people don't think that Hugh Jackman is overacting and he gets a little bit of Oscar buzz, perhaps. But we'll see how that goes.
All right, that is it for this week. I think we've covered everything. We'll try to get to a movie. I'm not sure. I would recommend Prisoners over anything else this weekend, not because I think it's going to be great, but because everything else is terrible. But other than that, you can check out Jeremy's box office wrap-ups, September movie previews. You can check out my reviews, all at cupofjoe.com. Also, you could like us on Facebook. You could follow us on Twitter. You could do whatever you do on Tumblr. Follow us on Tumblr.
Don't follow us on Tumblr.
We
haven't really updated that.
All right, don't do that then, I guess. I've been updating. What are you doing?
The Tumblr?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Okay, I take that back.
Follow us on Tumblr.
Yeah, do that.
All right, and we'll see you next time.